Hi, this is my first video on this account, though I'm not new to YouTube. I had an account previously that I lost, but it's not that important right now. I made this video about Route 06 because I genuinely enjoy the game a lot, and I wanted to express that in another way other than playing it. And a part 2 to this video because I didn't have time to finish everything I wanted to before the update. Anyways, let's get on to the actual video. I hope you enjoy. Route 06 is a game created and developed by Outlake. It's a hybrid between something like Dead Rails and a Dusty Trip. Kind of. The general gameplay has you and 4 other friends if you so choose, driving a car a certain amount of meters. The meters will be important later. The car, obviously, runs on gas, so there's structures around the map to help you and your team loot. However, there are also zombies you need to look out for. There's multiple types, but I'll get back to that in a second. There's a few different types of structures, but each one can generally spawn gas, weapons, sellable items, or consumables that give different temporal buffs. After around 1k meters, you'll arrive at Carl's shop. Pretty much any item you picked up can be sold. It's important to loot structures to get items to sell, because Carl is your only consistent way of getting gas, bandages that switches brew, a soda that passively heals you when drink, and durable weapons. Most gas and weapons you find in structures are either heavily damaged or don't have a lot of fuel. Carl's shop, however, has weapons that their full durability and guaranteed spawn up gas, bandages, witches brew, and blocks you colas. Repeat this until 4 to 5k meters and you'll reach the finale. The game gets harder the further you are, and more difficult and mandatory structures are introduced. I mentioned earlier that there's a few different types of zombies, so here are each one. Basic zombie. Slow, has around 100 HP on average, deals around 9 to 12 damage per hit. Rushers. Mainly a lighter green version of basic zombies, rushers are much faster and can sneak up on you easier / overwhelm you. Around 50 to 75 HP. Boomers, same as basic zombies but have a bigger model. Explode shortly after death. Anyone in the explosion will take a bit of damage if you ragdoll, making you vulnerable to zombies. Chargers, a slight orange version of basic zombies. They're much more tanky and I think they're faster. After following a survivor for a few seconds, they'll stand still and make a loud growling sound. What? After around 2 to 3 seconds, they'll quickly charge at where the survivor last was when they started charging. Chargers cannot change directions while charging. If hit, you'll be knocked back, not ragdoll, and take quite a bit of damage. Plauge, ooh, so scary. An unkillable sort of boss that can only spawn. Plague is faster than basic zombies, forcing you to manage your stamina if you want to avoid him. Attacking Plague is useless, and he serves to body block other zombies and/or make you waste durability and ammo. Plague can run at the car's top speed if he's either super far away or if you and your team are driving. After a while not attacking, Plague will run away for a bit and come back randomly throughout the night. He'll always disappear if it's morning or if you have the finale. Plague is meant to be a constant threat to survivors and make easy situations turn deadly if he's there. He has a few different attacks as well. His basic attack just deals damage to survivors and knocks them back a little. His grab is the attack he'll do when he first successfully lands a hit on someone. The person who's grabbed will have to spam Q and E, and any mess up will make the minigame last longer and then take more damage. Anyone can hit or shoot Plague to stop his grab. His third attack is the ability to fling everyone off the car if he catches up to it. Plague might sound a little overpowered, but he's mainly there to make the game stressful and have a bit more randomness / fear factors in it. There are a few ways to counter him though.
Yo, can you chill?
You just ended in the GC, bro.
Yo, who is that, bro? Who is...
1. Just managing your stamina is often enough to wait out his timer to leave, especially with the 2 stamina gears, but you could always have a Bloxy Cola with you just in case. 2. Kimberly's flashbang is the best counter to Plague. They stun him for a good 5 to 6 seconds and often allows a lot of distance to be made on him. 3. William's counter also stuns Plague but for a much shorter amount of time. This is mainly good for if you're almost out of stamina or if a teammate needs a bit of space from Plague. 4. Marcus's charge. It doesn't necessarily stun Plague, but you can still get some distance and gain your stamina back if you hit multiple zombies. Plague is mainly deadly while looting structures or in tunnels. Once you get used to his counters though, he's not that bad. There's also a zombie during the final with no current name. He's a buffed version of chargers that can throw rocks, do ground slams if he's close to you, and charge you. He's really slow and only appears during the final 60 seconds of the finale, so he's really not that big of an issue. I mentioned earlier that different survivors have ways of fending off Plague. That's because each survivor has their own moveset and stats. There's only 5 at the time of writing this, with 2 you can choose out whenever you first start the game. The first character is... Stella's one of the 2 starter survivors you can choose from. She's a support-based survivor and has 2 passive abilities, Recovery Knowledge and Sixth Sense. Recovery Knowledge allows Stella to revive down teammates 50% faster, and Sixth Sense makes the recovery process of all down teammates visible to Stella at all times. Like I said before, Stella's a support, so her abilities only aid her or her teammates when she has teammates. If you're going in solo, then her abilities are completely useless. I think Stella's a pretty good survivor, but in my opinion, she gets outclassed pretty easily. The other survivors are just a little less niche in my opinion. I think her main issues come down to a few things. 1, if your team is good, they won't ever really get down unless it's at the finale, which Stella's passive is pretty much useless in because of the sheer amount of zombies. 2, reviving faster isn't really all that helpful whenever more than one teammate can revive someone to make the recovery process faster. And 3, the others just have better supporting aspects in my opinion. Other than Ethan, Stella is in my opinion the worst at supporting characters, despite being the only actual support. I think if her Sixth Sense passive got replaced with just giving survivors extra HP when revived for like a bandage or something, she'd be a little better. She has the base stats that most of the crew has, 100 HP, 34 sprinting speed, and 100 stamina. I wanted to include a section for design because I think all of the characters in this game have really cool designs. They're not just your same old boring characters like Shaletsky and Builderman. No, they're actual characters that Outlake and Liam came up with. And I think that allows for so much more interesting story building and character relationships. I also like how they're just normal Roblox civilians. They're not heroes with insane capabilities. They're just normal people who have to adjust their lives to the zombie-infested world. I think Stella's design is great. Not my favorite of the cast, but she's definitely got her charm. And her Christmas skin looks even better. Not much to say other than that though.
Okay.
Brother.
I can go faster.
Ethan is the other starter survivor. Similar to Stella, he has 2 passives. However, instead of being a support, they have more of a solo playstyle. Their 2 passives consist of Prepared and Big Pockets. Prepared starts you off with 2 additional items in your hotbar, and Big Pocket gives you 5 extra backpack slots. I think Ethan is the better of the 2 from a gameplay perspective, though I like Stella more overall. I think Ethan is pretty good for hoarding extra items for the finale, or if your team likes stealing things from the trunk. He also saves time during solo runs because he doesn't often have to run back and forth between the car to put things in the trunk. He has the base stats of 100 HP, 34 sprinting speed, and 100 stamina, just like Stella. I think Ethan's design is a little boring, but not bad. He just looks like an average high school or college student. His design leads into the whole these characters are just normal people aspect, which I don't mind at all. His design is simple, but it works in my opinion. I also like the gingerbread Christmas outfit, it's cool. Both starter characters are made really well in my opinion. Both fit the main styles people will often have to choose between in this game. Support or solo-esque play. I think they're both great survivors in their own right, but they both have reasons to be starters. I think they get outclassed by others, but that's kind of the point. They're also not in a position where they're frowned upon and nearly useless like Boxin and Boppy are in Dandy's world. They hold their own weight and have their own strengths they can play into.
You got it. Good job.
Jeez,
Oops.
that was horrifying.
No.
Daniel!
Oh my God.
Daniel!
Push to the mountain.
Daniel! Dude, our car just went flying. I think it's off the map.
Hey, over here. No, it's not.
Sorry if I sound tired for this part. It's 1 p.m. and I've had no sleep since 7 p.m. yesterday. So I'm really tired. I'm gonna call with Plantain. The dude fell asleep. Fucking idiot, ver. So I'm low-key just working on this video. But I got the script done, so I'm gonna do that. Yay, cool transition. William is the first character I'll talk about that costs in-game money to buy. William costs $600, and you have to have a total of 300 kills to unlock him. He's currently the only character with this secondary feature that you need to unlock him. William has one ability, but it's an active, unlike the 2 starters. An active ability is always more interesting than a passive in my opinion, but it's not always better. This type of ability is used quite a lot in games, but I don't think it holds it back at all. Counter. William will start to block for a few seconds. If an enemy hits him during the state, William will hit them back harder. This can one-shot any enemy except Chargers and Plague. He has the base stats that the 2 starters have, 100 HP, 34 sprinting speed, and 100 stamina. This might come as a shocker, but Rado 6 isn't a PvP game. But that, of course, means this ability is really easy to land, even if I'm terrible at it. However, that's the point. It's just a small means of dealing with zombies quickly or clearing a path in tight situations. William's playstyle is honestly kind of a survivalist. His counter can help him if he needs it quickly to kill a few zombies or if he just wants to save durability on his weapons. But that's about it for him. I think he's the most picked survivor, at least in my experience, because his kit is the most straightforward. He has the same stats as Stella and Ethan, and his ability is always there if you need it. It doesn't play into any niche role, it plays into how the game handles combat as a whole, and it's kind of satisfying to land a punch, I can't lie. Design wise, I think William's pretty damn cool. It's clear that he's supposed to be the brawler of the cast, with him having quite a strong punch, and what seems to be enjoyment in doing so. For his actual model, I think it's great. He has that classic hairstyle, but I don't think it's used in a way that makes him look stupid like older models kinda do with the hairstyle. He actually looks menacing and protective. Remember earlier whenever I said this game had opportunities to make interesting character relationships? Well, they luckily didn't put it to waste. William and Kimberly are siblings, hinted at by their dialogue, interactions, and confirmed in the Discord server. William is the older protective sibling. This protectiveness is shown by his dialogue interactions. Gonna be real, I haven't paid too much attention to the dialogue in this game so far, but from what I've seen in 2 dialogues with William, he's protective in both. The first interaction, William asks Kimberly if she's alright, and when she asks him back, the GOAT nonchalantly responds with, "As long as you're fine, I'm fine." The second interaction, Ethan asks why they don't just stay with Carl, the robot shopkeeper, and William responds that he doesn't trust him. This, of course, shows a side of William that's protective of not only his sister, but the whole group as a whole. Kimberly, as I said before, is the younger sister to William, and I honestly prefer her more. Not only from a design-wise, but also from a gameplay perspective too. Kimberly is the most fragile of the group, having only 80 HP max. She needs protecting or a good player playing her to be worthwhile. But if you do have a good team or you're good at the game, she's pretty good. Kimberly's ability is inactive, sort of like William's and Marcus's. But instead of being an immediate action, she creates an item. Flashbangs. Requires 10 stamina to activate. Kimberly can craft a flashbang that can be thrown to stun enemies temporarily. Kimberly's flashbangs are very strong. They're able to blind any zombie in the radius, but this doesn't do damage. But it's great for crowd control or to distract Plague. Kimberly is sort of like a support and a survivalist depending on how you use her. I've gotten out of so many situations using Kimberly's flashbangs. Plague is barely an issue as long as you have a small stack of flashbangs and money. Kimberly is also the best at supporting her team, not only because she can use a flashbang if someone is struggling, but she can also drop her flashbangs to give to other players. Because flashbangs are a Kimberly exclusive item, they're cheap, have a short low cooldown, and due to how strong they are, having a full team stocked up on flashbangs can be insane. She has 100 HP, 35 sprinting speed, and 100 stamina. From a design perspective, I think Kimberly is easily my favorite. She's just a shy nerd. She's just a shy girl, and I think she does a great job at fitting into this role without being insanely cringe or unrealistic about it. Even the way she runs looks awkward in a way, and I think Outlake and Liam did a great job with this character. Marcus is the first character that we sort of have a backstory to. He was in the military. I don't think anything other than that is known about him though, but there might be something in this dialogue, I just haven't checked. He has two abilities, one active and one passive. Unbreakable Will, Marcus will bleed out 50% slow while down. Charge requires 20 stamina to use. Marcus will charge in the direction you are looking. Each enemy you hit while charging will give you 10 stamina back. Marcus is also sort of a survivalist like William. His charge is mainly used for dealing with large hordes, making him easily the best survivor for dealing with those. And you know what the final is solely about? You guessed it, hordes! Yeah, Marcus is pretty busted during the finale. Not even just because it's extra HP or his unbreakable will passive, but charge counters the finale in every way possible. Usually you want to stock up on Bloxy Colas and Witch's Brew for the finale, as a horde of zombies will eventually run your stamina thin and probably chip away at your health. However, Marcus, like the Chad he is, has a Bloxy Cola built into him pretty much. Due to the finale having a ton of zombies, and Marcus's ability being at full potential when there's a ton of zombies, he wipes with his ability. If you're running low on stamina, just charge into the horde of zombies. Not only do you gain all your stamina back, but you deal a pretty good amount of damage too, which will save you on quite a bit of durability, ammo, and even stamina too. This paired with the short-ish cooldown means that as long as the player is good at the game, Marcus can manage his stamina until he gains the charge back, then rinse and repeat. His lack of speed and stamina aren't all too important when you have the 2 stamina gears in my opinion, but even without them, he's still definitely good, just not as good. He has 120 HP, 32 sprinting speed, and 80 stamina. Marcus's design is pretty cool in my opinion. He's, as I said earlier, an ex-military man, and his design reflects that pretty well. He wears a military outfit, and he's quite strong. I think his design is a little below William for me, but I think that might just be bias speaking. As I said in the beginning, I'm splitting this video into 2 parts for a few reasons. One, the game updated and this video is mildly outdated. Instead of redoing everything, I'll just talk about what changed in 0.1 in the next video. 2, my storage is horrid right now. And 3, I just want this video out. I'm a little burnt out, but this video was fun to make. I hope you guys enjoy, the people who are watching this. And I'll see you in a little bit with that next video.